This is Nick Christophers with Mob Tales, back part 2 of Mob Nicknames, because I got a request from somebody if we're going to be doing it again, the second part. So here we are. So I got a couple of people that are interesting characters, interesting names. We're going to start with Frank Salami. Frank Salami was from the Boston area. He was with Whitey Bulger and all those guys over there in the not West East, sorry, that's New York. Apologize, Winter Hill. So Frank Salami, they used to call him Cadillac Frank. That was his nickname. And it ain't because he drove Cadillacs. He actually hated Cadillacs, to be honest with you. He used to work at an auto body shop where they used to chop up the cars and stuff. And it was like a Cadillac shop, believe it or not. This other guy ran, and Frank used to work there for a little while. So this way they started calling him Cadillac Frank, even though he didn't own a Cadillac, which is pretty funny. He actually flipped. He turned state's evidence against the Boston crew in around, I think it was 2003, 2003, I believe. And then he got pinched again, even after he got out of the witness protection program. When he got out, he got pinched again in 2018, very recently, for a murder charge, believe it or not. So this guy obviously couldn't avoid being a bad guy, even when he got out of the life, he went right back in again. You know, I guess like Al Pacino said in The Godfather, they pulled me in, they pulled me right back in. Back out, they pulled me right back in, excuse me. Mixed that a little bit. Next guy is Frank Abandando. This guy's old time, back in the day, back in Murder Inc. with Abbott Anastasia and all them, and the Jewish guys. They used to call him the Dasher. And the reason why they call him the Dasher is because he was very, very fast. He was very good at pickpocketing, things like that. And at one point, he was chasing a rival that attacked him, and he caught up with him, and he shot him dead. So after that, they started calling him the Dasher because of the amount of his speed, which is pretty interesting. Almost like the Flash, I guess you could say, from DC Comics. Another guy they called an interesting name, Philly Chicken Man Tester. He was very famous because the name Tester, or the Chicken Man rather, it was part of a Bruce Springsteen song called "They Blew Up Chicken Man" in Jersey last night. So he got that name because he was involved in the poultry business. So that was one reason. Another reason why he had like chicken pox in his face, like pork marks in his face. So that was the other reason why he was called Chicken Man, so to speak. He was a pretty powerful guy in Philly until Angelo Bruno thought, Angelo Bruno was the boss before Chicken Man Tester. Nicky Scarfo felt he was a bit of a threat. Everybody else to Nicky Scarfo was a threat and whacked everybody. And he blew up Chicken Man, and he blew up his house, actually. So that's why I say he blew up Chicken Man. Next guy I'm going to talk about is Donald Tony the Greek Francos. Now, Tony the Greek Francos, he was connected with the Genovese crew. He was under Tony Salerno. He was not a made guy because he was Greek, but he was an associate, and he was a contract killer. But anybody that needed a whack, they send Tony out to do it. Donald's the proper name. And Francos was very famous for the Pierre Hotel heist, where they stole like, I don't know how much millions of dollars in jewelry and money and banknotes, and there was a whole crew of guys that did it. And actually, Donald, or Tony the Greek, took out 2 guys that were part of that crew because they held back on money they owed to him, his cut. He evidently turned state's evidence when he was, no longer of use to the Genovese crew or the mob in general. And he turned state's evidence, I think it was in the late 90s, I believe. Another guy I'm going to talk about is Tony Spilotro. There's a lot of people know that name because he was made famous by Joe Pesci in the Casino. And Joe Pesci played him pretty well, actually, because the Ant, which was his nickname, was pretty much a psycho. Yeah, he was a very paranoid guy, very violent, very volatile. The outfit put him in Vegas to look over things, make sure the skimming money gets back to the outfit in Chicago, just like it was portrayed in the casino. Even though there was a lot of, holes in that movie, but I'm not going to get into that now. But he got the name The Ant. It wasn't from Loud Guys. He got it from William Romere. William Romere was a special detective for the OC unit and now in Chicago. And he went after guys like him. And he was quoted as saying that Tony's a pissant because how short he is, because he was a short guy. So William gave him that nickname, the Ant. Another guy was Benny Eggs Mangano, old school guy from way back when the mob still kind of started. His brothers Philip Mangano and Vinny Mangano were part of the Lucky Luciano days. And Albert Anastasia supposedly, I think it was Anastasia or Genovese, had them both whacked. Benny got his nickname Benny Eggs. Again, not from the wise guys, but he got it because his mother ran an egg farm, which I think is pretty funny. The last guy I'm talking about is Boris Mayfield. Boris Mayfield was part of the Russian Jewish mob in Brighton Beach. He originally was part of the criminal element in Russia, really. Odessa, around that area. He was from Gomel, which is a town in Russia, very poor neighborhood. He came out to the United States in the late 80s. He was involved in a gas skimming with the Lucchese family, but he had his own, he was a boss of his own right in the Russian mob in Brighton Beach. He pretty much ran it with this other guy. His name was Evgeny Agron. He was the boss at the time until Boris took over, and he went to war with this other guy. His name was Monya Elson, which was another boss in the Russian mob in Brighton Beach, and Boris, won the war against him pretty much. They used to call Boris Biba. Biba in Russian means baby, because that's what his mother used to call him, or his grandmother, his grandmother, because that's who he was raised by. So that's how he got that nickname, Biba. Not that he really liked it too much. And like most of these guys that I've discussed, most of people never called them to their face, their nickname. Nobody went to Phil Testa and said, "Hey, Chicken Man," or Boris Mayfield, "Hey, Biba." That just never really happened. Those were just names that I think that the FBI knew about through surveillance and stuff like that and from wiretaps. But these are the guys I wanted to talk about today. Wanted to get around different nationalities, not just the Italians, because the mob is not just Italian. It's Greek, Irish, Russian, Jewish, Japanese, Chinese. We could go on forever. Albanian. We'll talk about those other crews and their nicknames, which are really weird, maybe in another session. Thanks, guys, for coming in. Appreciate it. Please like, share, and make comments if you like. And appreciate all the comments that came in already, especially from Stacy. Thank you much. And we'll talk soon. Take care, guys.